All right, here's the last of the three motors that I've been measuring for pushrod lengths, and this one is the most challenging of all. I had to pushrod check every single cylinder because I was getting some weird numbers. So what I landed up, the numbers in red are the minimum numbers. So we all know they're going to be 8.6. So 8.616, 8.623, 8.621, 8.16, 8.615, or 605, and 8.604. Shooting for a minimum of 30 thousandths of preload and a maximum of about 40-45, I can get an 8.650 push rod and I will cover this whole bank. That's going to put me at a minimum of 27 on the shortest one, which would be 623, and 46 on the longest one, which would be 604. The right bank is where it gets hairy. I had an 8.650, a 624, 634, a 630, a 636, and a 625. That's because of the difference in the valve stem heights. These heads have had probably multiple valve stem jobs, and that's not something that I can correct here, and we're not running roller rockers. So I could just select the closest push rod and let it ride, or I could do a little bit of math and come up with the correct push rods for the best all-around average on all these valves. So what I landed up was, with the check mark, I can still run an 8.650 push rod from the other side. So I'll run an 8.650 on this one because it's 625. I'm gonna run an 8.650 over there because it's 24, and that'll give me about 25-ish preload, which is about the minimum I would take. And then where the X's are, which this is a 36, a 30, and a 34, I'm gonna go with an 8.670 push rod, and that'll give me a little more than 30 on some of these, closer to 40 on a few. And then the odd duck here, his minimum is 8.650, so I need about an 8.680 to be happy. So if I had adjustable rockers, this would alleviate this problem. But when you're building a motor, the push rods are not one size fits all. A lot of times we get away with two different sizes. I try and demand that the stem heights are within 10 thousandths of an inch when I pick up cylinder heads. It doesn't always happen. That's why you got to check it. This thing here, if I ran a one size fits all push rod across the motor, I would have had some valves with a lot of preload to get the minimum on the valves that were shorter, or I would have had some valves that had less than optimal preload that might actually in fact have a little bit of lash once it's hot and expands. So that's what you're trying to avoid here. You're trying to get valve lash when it's cold. Obviously it's going to be tight, but once it warms up, you still need it to have enough lash where it doesn't have any slop, because slop is what breaks things. Too much lash and you can actually the engine won't be as crisp. It could potentially hang a valve open. So this is Trey and Alan Sewell's motor, and I'm going to order 3 different lengths push rods for this one.